What's good, my people? Welcome back to EMGM Sports. For those of you who are new to the channel, hi, I'm your boy Enzo. Just a quick overview on what goes on in this channel. I talk boxing, I talk MMA, I do reviews, I do post-fight analysis on MMA fights, UFC fights, boxing. Sometimes also, I come on here and we talk football because I'm a big football fan. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I really appreciate having you with me today. So Chris Eubank, Canelo Alvarez. There's been some speculations coming out in the last few days that there might be some negotiations happening behind the scenes for these two guys to fight. In recent years, these two have flirted with the idea of fighting each other. I mean, Chris Eubank has mentioned it a few times in his interviews that he wants to fight Canelo Alvarez. He wants to fight the big names, and he wants to test himself. And he actually believes that he will give Canelo a lot of problems, and he can beat Canelo. But saying all that and actually doing is completely two different things. And Canelo, we know he's an elite boxer. He feels like Canelo's been around for so long. How old is Canelo? He's what, about 33, 34, I think, but it seems like he's been around forever. I've been watching Canelo, since he was like 17. The guy is just a talent. Crazy, crazy talented fighter, elite. Do you know what I mean? One of the greats, of the sport with everything that he's achieved. If you actually look at Canelo's achievements here, and if you look at some of the fighters that he fought, like the likes of Golovkin, Mayweather, Bivol, just to name a few, the guy's never been dropped. Talk about having a granite chin. Like Canelo is just a freak of nature. One of those fighters like just come along once every blue moon. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to actually respect Canelo for his achievements in boxing. And at 33, 34 years old, he's been all the way up to light heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Won the belt against he beat Kovalev. He's really tested himself. Talk about, you know, um, a fighter that wants to test himself. Canelo's done that. He's moved up the divisions and he's taken on all types of fighter. Tall, rangy. He's fought big guys. Like, you have to remember, Canelo, I think officially is like 5'8". He's only 5'8". Now, 5'8" is not that tall. Do you know what I mean? He's really not that tall. And he's taking on, I think it too, Colin Smith. Colin Smith is like 6'5" or something like that, 6'3", whatever. But these guys are tall, man. And Canelo's just dismantled all these guys, absolutely beat the hell out of them. And listen, man, I have Canelo definitely in my top 10 of all time because for the amount of years that he's been in a sport, yeah, and the amount of challenges he's taken on, the belts that he's won, yeah, is incredible that no one's ever like, dropped him. Do you know what I mean? I've never seen Canelo even, I've never seen him in a fight even getting close to being dropped. Now he can be outboxed like he did against Mayweather. He could be in a little bit of trouble like against Golovkin. Even against Golovkin, I mean, Golovkin won that first fight, in my opinion, and a lot of people agree with me. But did Golovkin ever look like knocking him out? I don't think so. And we know Triple G, like he was knocking everyone at that time. He was the scariest guy on the planet. You did not want to fight Triple G at that time. And Canelo was never dropped by him. Canelo was also outboxed by what's his name, by Bivol, Dimitri Bivol, when they face each other. Outboxed, but not hurt to the point where, he had to take a knee or whatever. So, you know, listen, respect to Canelo, man, for all his achievements. After saying all that, it makes me wonder why Canelo will be negotiating a fight against Chris Eubank. Because let's actually look at this. Chris Eubank hasn't got a belt at middleweight or lightweight. He hasn't got no belts. Canelo actually holds the WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight titles. He once held the light heavyweight title as well, but currently he's got all the super middleweight titles. Chris Eubank has no belts. You know, Chris Eubank, his last performance, I think he fought Zeremeta, some Polish guy. Decent win, decent performance. Like, how can I put this? Chris Eubank's last opponent is not elite, he's not world class. So I don't really know where Chris Eubank is, his level is at the moment. Like judging him in his past fights, like he fought Liam Smith, he won that rematch after getting knocked out in the first fight. But whenever he stepped up, he's, especially at British level, he's gone up against Billy Joe Saunders. He lost that on a split. It was a close fight, but he lost it on a split. He went up against George Groves. He lost that. His most memorable win, you have to say, is against James DeGale. But then a lot of people said that James DeGale was actually on a decline. He was kind of coming towards the end of his career. So a lot of people don't really give Chris Eubank Jr. a lot of credit for beating James DeGale. So it's a weird one, man, with Chris Eubank, man. Like a lot of people will be looking at this, will be hearing this kind of news and say, what has Chris Eubank actually deserved? Sorry, what has Chris Eubank actually done to deserve a fight against Canelo, who has all the belt? And on Canelo's side, I don't really understand it. Is this like a stay busy fight? Is it just kind of like bored and he wants to just stay busy? Because if we look at in terms of money wise, is that the biggest money fight out there for Canelo? I don't think so. Crawford is out there. Terence Crawford has called out Canelo numerous times. He wants to go in there against Canelo Alvarez and test himself. And Terence Crawford believes that he can beat Canelo. So why doesn't Canelo take on Terence Crawford? Because that would be a bigger fight than him against Chris Eubank Jr. And it's the money fight, innit? That would be two, mega stars in boxing, two superstars colliding. That would do crazy pay-per-views. It will sell out stadiums in America. Do you know what I mean? It will make big money, man. So why is he avoiding the Crawford fight? Why is he not entertaining Terence Crawford, but he's willing to entertain Chris Eubank Jr., who in recent years hasn't really got that clout that he first had when he first came out, because obviously his dad being who he is, Chris Eubank Sr., British boxing legend. Chris Eubank Jr. lately he hasn't got that clout in him. People don't really believe in him. People don't really rate him as a world elite fighter. So for me, this fight is a bit left. It's a bit weird, isn't it? But I don't know what's going on through Canelo Alvarez's head, his management, and I don't know. But to be fair, these two have flirted with each other in the past about fighting each other. So I don't know. Canelo Alvarez, he does love to beat British fighters, isn't it? I think like he's fought so many of them now. Like he's smashed up all of them. I think he's finished all the British fighters that he's fought. I think it maybe just bored and he wants to add Chris Eubank Jr. to that list. Because that's the only reason I can see, like, do you know what I mean? Because in the middleweight division, in the super middleweight division, there are other fighters out there. I thought maybe like a Benavidez, he might fight him, but it looks like he won't fight him. Maybe a rematch, Canelo rematch against Dimitri Bivol, but then Dimitri Bivol hasn't got no belt. So would that be worth Canelo's while to actually go fight Dimitri Bivol? Dimitri Bivol actually wants that Beterbiev rematch, but it looks like he might not get it immediately. So in that time that Bivol's not doing anything, could he fight Canelo again? But Canelo might want a belt. But then Canelo wants to fight Chris Eubank Jr., who hasn't got a belt. So it's not making a lot of sense at the moment. Can this fight happen? Can he materialize? Of course he can. Of course he can. He's boxing a lot, a lot of politics, a lot of things happen behind the scene, and anything can happen. I've seen worse things happen in boxing. So Chris Eubank, Canelo Alvarez, it can happen. And you know what? It might happen, but for me, it shouldn't, because I would prefer Chris Eubank Jr. to fight Conor Ben. I think that's the next fight. I feel like with Chris Eubank being, 35 years of age now, I don't know where he's getting a title shot from, but him and Conor Ben will be a good fight. Will do crazy pay-per-view numbers just because of the whole history with the two family, the Ben and the Eubank family, what happened with their dad and everything like that. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people are interested in that, and that will generate a lot of buys, you know what I mean? He'll put bums on seats. The only problem with that fight is, the only hindrance is, Conor Ben still hasn't really put himself in front of the British Boxing Board of Control to prove his innocence. Do you know what I mean? He still hasn't got his license with the British Boxing Board of Control. So that's kind of causing slight delays to that fight. But they can fight without the British Boxing Board of Control, you know, being in charge of that fight, without them actually issuing a license to Conor Ben. But it wouldn't go down well with the British public if these two were to fight, you know, without Conor Ben presenting himself to the British Boxing Board of Control and proving his innocence. I mean, I think it's been cleared by VADA, you know, and on other organizations. But in the UK, his name hasn't been cleared, and that's kind of tarnished, you know, his image in the UK, and a lot of fans have been put off by it. So if that fight was to happen under normal circumstances where it will have the full backing of the British boxing public, Conor Ben has to prove his innocence. He has to go in front of the British Boxing Board of Control and really, like, you know what I mean, and clear his name. And I want to see that because, look, I rate Conor Ben. I think he's one of those exciting fighters, even though in his last two performances, I haven't really been a fan of it. But, you know, in terms of talent potential, he's full of it. You know, Conor Ben is full of it. And I think that's the fight that Chris Eubank Jr. should be looking to make next. You know, if Conor Ben clears his name, you know what I mean? Even if he doesn't clear his name, they can make it happen. With Turkey Al Sheikh, Riyadh season, you never know. Money talks and his boxing. So for Chris Eubank Chris Eubank Jr., I think he should avoid the Canelo fight at all costs. It's a lose-lose. I mean, look, Canelo has the belts, right? So, you know, Chris Eubank Jr., I'm looking, I'm thinking, he might look here, think, you know, I'm 35 years old. I might not get another opportunity at a big, you know, a big fight ever again. Do you know what I mean? He's looking at the circumstances like, you know what? When can I ever get a crack at Canelo Alvarez, who's a superstar, and he's got a chance to win the belt here and make money? But what are his chances of winning? To me, they're very slim, man. They're very slim. I mean, listen, if Liam Smith is knocking you out, if you're struggling against George Grove, you struggled against Billy Joe Saunders. Trust me, Canelo Alvarez, he's a seasoned vet, man. This guy is elite, man. Canelo Alvarez is one of those fighters that when I hear him announce a fight, I'm like, yo, listen, he's winning that. Do you know what I mean? Like 9 out of 10 times, I don't even bother watching the fight because the guy just wins. Do you know what I mean? The Canelo Alvarez is just elite. He's elite. Do you know what I mean? And I don't see in any shape or form, I just don't see a Chris Eubank Jr. victory against Canelo Alvarez. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not against Chris Eubank Jr. You know, sometimes I really feel like, especially with the British media, he's unfairly treated. You know, a lot of it he's brought on himself, you know, the way he carries himself and he plays the villain, etc., etc. You know, listen, he's a boxer and he's got to punch his chance. He's got to punch his chance, but against a Canelo Alvarez who's so elite, mate, I don't see it happening. You know what I mean? Good luck to him. If the fight does happen, mate, listen, in terms of his bank balance, he's going to make a lot of money. He's going to make a lot of money. But his chances of winning that fight, for me, you know, are very slim. Very slim. And me personally, I want to see Canelo Alvarez take on Terence Crawford. Crawford, who's been calling him out. Terence Crawford has been calling out Canelo Alvarez. So that's the fight that I want to see. But it looks like it might not happen, especially after, you know, Terence Crawford's last performance. You know, Canelo Alvarez said, look, Terence Crawford is too small for me. He's not big enough. You know, I'll smash him up, whatever. So he's looking like that fight won't happen. It's a shame. I want to see that's a super fight. It will get me excited. It will get a lot of boxing fans excited. So I want to see that fight. But you let me know, man. What do you think, man? Chris Eubank Jr., does he deserve to fight Canelo Alvarez? And if the fight was to be announced, would you buy the pay-per-view? Would you be watching that fight? Or do you feel like it's a waste of time, he's going to get smashed out? Do you want to see Canelo fight next? Benavidez, Crawford? I think those are the two fights that he should be trying to make. I think Chris Eubank Jr., I know he's a big name here in the UK, family well known, but I'm not interested in seeing that fight. But it's boxing. Anything can happen. Listen, guys and girls, you let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let's have a conversation about it. I'll really appreciate it. Once again, thank you so much for watching EMGM Sports. I'm your boy Enzo. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I'll really appreciate it. You would help the channel to grow. I'll be back with another one real soon. Until then, man, stay blessed. Peace.